today's segment of What's Up Wilmington, we visit a hidden gem tucked away near downtown where the community comes together to drink, laugh, and repeat.
So I'm Jay Tatum. This is Tatum's PubShed. What a PubShed is essentially a shed, and it has a pub in it. And the way I found out about this was when I went to Europe for my 40th birthday. We went to England to the Glastonbury Festival, and when I was in London, I picked up a magazine, had an article about people that owned garden sheds in their backyard because they had super small backyards like we have in downtown Wilmington, and unfortunately they didn't have big spaces to put a home bar, so they were taking their own garden sheds and turning them into a pub essentially. So I'm a Wilmington native, and so I wanted to make the PubShed kind of a nod to my family history and also being from here. There's little things in here that all represent my family that I've inherited, and then there's things here that people had come in here and they gave me. Like, for example, my buddy Stephen Wolf played baseball at New Hanover. That's his jersey down there from New Hanover High School, and then he went on to play baseball for NC State, and that's his jersey over there. But you know, he thought this would be a good place to have it here in the shed because he comes around. But I did have a lot of like things. For example, Michael Jordan's autograph is right there. Michael Jordan went to my high school, Laney, and that's his autograph coming out of Anonymous Seafood on Market Street back in the 80s. So that all those little things. My great grandmother was an immigrant from Spain to Ellis Island. She was probably one of the only Spanish-speaking people here in Wilmington at one point. She died when I was 18, but there's a picture of her and her family right here after they had made the passage. And she also took the Carpathia, which is the ship that picked up the Titanic survivors. So we have a little picture of the Carpathia back here. That's her. She made the passage to America on that ship. So there's little things that represent my family and heritage, things like that. Yeah. So during the hurricane, there was a tree that fell down on a house here in our neighborhood, and MSNBC was out doing a remote, and they were filming the damage to this home. And you know, although it was what it was kind of a bummer story because this family was out of a home. And then some of the neighbors had just told them after they had been to that scene that they were like, why don't we go over to Tatum's PubShed and get a drink, you know, like let's do something more uplifting that's in the neighborhood. So they said sure, and the guys actually came over here, and I wasn't expecting them to film in the shed. I just thought they were gonna come over here and have a drink. So they come over, they hang out, and then while they're here, they start taking pictures and sending it back to New York. And they were like, and New York was like, let's do a uplifting story from the PubShed. So they film, so they bring their gear in here and they do a live remote on MSNBC of the PubShed and asking us questions about the hurricane and stuff like that. Somebody was holding a Dell's Pale Ale beer, and not long after that, Oscar Blues reached out to me just to say thank you for plugging them, which I don't know if we really plugged them, we just had their beer. So they sent us all this swag, and it was pretty cool. It was, you know, a nice gesture on their end. The PubShed, I think, is, for one thing, it's unique in its own right because people, not everybody has a PubShed, but I think for us it's cool to have local beer, local craft beer. It's made locally, and I think a lot of people bond over beer with just like they would over a coffee, really. And so it's been cool because we've had a lot of local brewers send us their beer. Judd over at Wrightsville Brewing's been over here. Of course, we've had Dave and Carl from Flying Machine, and the list goes on and on of other brewers that we've had in here that brought their beers. And it's just been, since the PubShed is all about community, it's all about community of their beer as well. So it's just been fun to have locally made beer in our local establishment, I guess you could say. I think the PubShed has created its own culture, I guess. So, I mean, we all love going to a bar, right? I mean, I've certainly spent many days in bars, and The cool thing about the PubShed is we've created a bar that we don't have to spend a lot of money on drinks and things like that. It's a community-based thing. Everybody brings stuff. I feel like bars sometimes get too commercial, or you go to a bar and they're advertising Jack Daniels or Jim Beam or Budweiser or Bud Light, and that's all you kind of see. You know, that's your decor. That's your, or you see sports teams or just tons of TVs. To me, when you come in here, although we have TVs and we might have a reference to a bourbon here or there, I feel like you should create this cool atmosphere for people to drink in, and everyone that sits in here is looking around, and there's something new that they see every time they're here. And that's kind of, when I go to a bar, that's kind of what I look for, is the vibe. You create the vibe. The music creates the vibe. The decor creates the vibe. And a lot of bars just don't get that, unfortunately, you know.